Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this monohybrid cross. Alright, so I'm going to start on the page that has the pictures of the guinea pigs on that side of it.
The hairless one looks like it's petrified. It's like, oh my lord.
Okay, so vocabulary practice, fill in the missing boxes, assuming that having hair for a guinea pig follows Mendelian inheritance, where the H is a dominant allele codes for hair, and the little h codes for lack of hair, which is hairless. So we've got this first image of this guinea pig. Alright, so we've got a couple of terms that you do need to know. You've got genotype. That's what the genes, or that's the genes that are present. And then you've got phenotype. That's what you see. Okay, so you don't necessarily see all the genes coming out. If they're carrying a recessive, you're not going to see that. Okay, so for the first one, it's got big H, big H. So we know that that is two dominant alleles. Alleles are just represented by the letters. Okay, that's just a trait that we're looking at. So that's two dominant alleles. So that is homozygous dominant. Okay, homo means same. Dominant means that it's a dominant trait. So you've got two dominant alleles in that. So right in number one, you're going to write homozygous dominant. So the phenotype, what we see, is it going to have hair? Yeah. If it has this, or if it has a big H, little h, it will still have hair. This one is heterozygous dominant because it has a dominant trait in there. So it's got the big H and little h. So it's hetero, which means different. And then dominant because it has a capital letter in it. And that's not necessarily one that you have to write down on this one right now. We're getting to it, but I was just kind of going over the difference between homozygous dominant and heterozygous dominant. Okay, so the next guinea pig, this hairless one, is little h, little h. So both of those are the same, so it's homozygous. Is it dominant or recessive? Recessive. Because it has the little letters in it. Okay, so homozygous because it's the same letters, two little h's. This was homozygous dominant because it had two capital H's. Homozygous recessive because it got two little h's. Okay, so the next one down on this next row, it tells us that it's heterozygous. So we know that the genotype is going to be capital H, little h. What would the phenotype be? What would you see? Hair or no hair?
Hair.
You're going to have hair because it does have a dominant in it. And you can be like Hayden and Malachi and put your artistic skills to the test and draw
look at it. Look at it. It's piercing.
Lovely pictures.
Well, we gotta draw an easy.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can do that in a minute. Okay. All right. I'm moving on. You could draw an oblong shape and just put some hair on it.
It's just two circles of lead.
Okay. All right, number 8 says an allele is a form of a gene. In the Punnett square on the right, how many big H, little h alleles does a baby guinea pig inherit from the mother? How many big H, little h alleles does a baby guinea pig inherit from the father? So we're going to run this Punnett square. We're going to go ahead and draw it out. Punnett squares are super easy. You will have those on your test. All you're doing is you're showing the traits. So this is a big H, little h, and then the other parent is a big H, little h. So they're both heterozygous, dominant, because you have a dominant trait in there. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're just going to show what comes down into these boxes. So we have a big H, big H. Here we've got a big H, little h. Here we have a big H, little h. And here we have two little h's. Okay, so this is a probability. This is what is projected could happen with each time you have a kid. This is not saying if you have 4 kids, you're going to have one that's got 2 dominant traits, one that's a dominant recessive, and 2 recessive. It's saying each time that you have a guinea pig that's born, so each one has this probability. So what percentage of this would be a hairy guinea pig? Yes, there's 4 things, so each one of them is worth what percentage? 25%. So we would have 75% with hair, a 25% chance without hair. What percentage would we have of being a hairy guinea pig but carrying a recessive trait for hairless? 50% chance of having hair but carrying the recessive. So this is for each time that a guinea pig is born. This is the probability what could happen. So more than likely, these parents would probably have guinea pigs that have hair on them. You've got a 25% chance though that it'll be hairless. Okay, so alleles, how many big H, little h does it inherit? So it could inherit 2, well, wait. What is it saying? Inherit from the mother. So the mom and the dad are both big H, little h. Okay, so it's going to inherit a set of those from the mom and the dad. So you could just put 1 in those. That's kind of worded weird. If a baby girl guinea pig looks almost identical to its mother, does this then mean that it inherited more alleles from its mother? Explain.
Yes. Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Why do you think so, Malika?
Because yes.
No. Not necessarily. The stuff that you're seeing doesn't necessarily mean that that's all the genetics that you have. So yeah, the baby might look like the mom. So if we're talking about guinea pigs, this mom would have hair. The babies could have hair. 75% chance that they could have hair, but this one could have had 2 dominant traits. These would have carried a recessive trait with them. So you don't necessarily know exactly what the genetics are. You're just basing it off of what you see. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you inherited more alleles from the mother. Can you inherit more genes from your mom than from your dad?
Probably.
No,
you can't, because then you'll be like...
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's you have to get half your genes from your mom, half from your dad. Now, that does not mean that you're going to look like a perfect blend of them. It's what genes are dominant, which ones are recessive. A lot of genes are polygenetic, so there's a lot of different genes that control stuff like hair color, eye color, skin color. That's why you can see families that have totally different colors of skin, hair, eyes. It's just according to what genes get matched up. So if you look at like me and my kids, Ethne is the one that looks the most like me. Okay, so she's got the darker features, the eyes, the hair. She tans well. Electa's blonde. She's more fair. They are total biological sisters, but they have a big variation in their like hair color, skin color, eye color. Electa's got hazel eyes. Ethne's got dark brown. So, but if you look at all 3 of my kids, now Lachlan is only a half sibling to Ethne and Electa. Lachlan looks more like Ethne than he does Electa. Okay, so like their baby pictures are identical. So that right there tells you that, you know, they've got some of the dominant stuff for me. Okay. All right, let's flip it over. The mysterious spread, a guinea pig test cross.
Me and Hayden already got number 9.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Yeah, we did. We stole it from you.
Oh.
Oh, I
Yeah,
got
you're
half-
cheating off my paper. That's not really
I got
allowed.
half of number 10 too.
Half of number 2 before I jerked my paper away from you. Okay. Alright, so Genevieve has the genotype. She's hairless, so what does she have to be?
HH.
Little h, little h.
Easy.
Okay, Fred has hair. So do we know what Fred, his genotype is?
Big
What are
H,
the 2
little
choices
H.
it can be?
Big
Big H, little h,
Capital H, capital
and big H, big H. Okay, so if you have those for your answer choices in number 10, we go down to 11. If Fred was the genotype, big H, little h, and he bred with Genevieve, so we're going to do that Punnett square. So he's big H, little h, and she's little h, little h. Now we're going to see what the probability would be for their children. And this is for one child that's born. Okay, so big H, little h, little h, little h, big H, little h, and little h, little h.
50-50.
50-50 chance that they're going to have a baby with hair or one that's hairless. Okay, so that was 11 and 12. Now we're going to move over to 13 and 14. We're going to do the cross with this one. If he was this genotype. So if he's big H, big H, and we know she's little h, little h. So all of them are going to be heterozygous dominant. So they're all going to be hairy. They're all going to carry a recessive trait for hairless. Okay, so explain in your own words how the offspring from the test cross could help determine Fred's genotype. So if you did cross these 2 guinea pigs, that just means you breed them and then they have babies. If one comes out to be hairless, one of the babies comes out to be hairless, which genotype do you know he's going to be?
Big H.
This one. So if you see a hairless baby, you know he has to be that one. We already know the mom is this one. You know he has to be that one. If you keep breeding them and breeding them and breeding them and they never have a hairless one, does that necessarily mean he's this one? No? Because there's always a 50-50 chance that it could be this one. So we wouldn't know this one for sure because there is a 50-50 chance that they can have a hairy one over here with this cross. So that could be the weakness of it. Okay, you can stop that video.
Yeah, Hayden.